Welcome 2019 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like one of those late-night myths collectors whisper about. But today we're diving into a coin that has stunned even seasoned numismatists, the 2019 P quarter dollar. Yes, that ordinary-looking quarter struck in Philadelphia in 2019. The same kind you might toss into a vending machine without a second thought. Yet rumors, private sales, and collector frenzy have pushed one extraordinary example of this coin to an eye-watering valuation of $19 million. $19 million for a single quarter. Before you dismiss this as fantasy, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this coin has become one of the most talked about modern rarities. And trust me, the next coin we'll uncover later in this series may shake you even more. The 2019 P quarter dollar comes from the United States Mint's America the Beautiful series, a program that honored national parks and historic sites across the country, struck by the Philadelphia Mint, which is represented by the small but powerful P Mint mark. In 2019, the series featured designs such as Lowell National Historical Park, American Memorial Park, War in the Pacific National Historical Park, San Antonio Missions, and Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness. Millions upon millions were produced. On the surface, there was nothing rare about them. They were minted for everyday commerce, jingling in pockets, stacked in bank rolls, fed into parking meters. But sometimes history isn't about how many were made, it's about how few were made wrong. And that's where the legend begins. Deep inside the Philadelphia Mint in 2019, high-speed presses were striking quarters at a relentless pace. Modern minting is a technological marvel. Thousands of coins per minute, laser-guided precision, strict quality control. Yet even the most advanced systems are not immune to human oversight or mechanical anomalies. According to collectors who first discovered the anomaly, a microscopic die fracture began forming on one of the quarter dies used early in the production run. At first, it was nearly invisible, a faint crack forming near Washington's profile. As the die continued to strike thousands of coins under immense pressure, the crack deepened and expanded, eventually creating what experts now call a catastrophic progressive die break. But here's the twist. Instead of being caught immediately, a small batch of these quarters escaped into circulation before the mint technicians replaced the die. Most die breaks add minor collectible value. This one was different. The break created a dramatic raised ridge across Washington's face and into the field, combined with a subtle off-center strike caused by the same mechanical stress. But that alone wouldn't make it worth millions. What transformed this coin from an interesting error into a potential $19 million treasure was a perfect storm of factors. Among the escaped coins, one specimen was discovered in near-flawless mint state condition, graded MS68 by top experts, with the most dramatic and visually striking die break of them all. Collectors described it as a lightning bolt frozen in metal. The error was bold, artistic, and completely unique. No other example displayed the same intensity of die fracture combined with pristine surfaces. It was authenticated, encapsulated, and quietly sold in a private that reportedly approached $19 million, driven by two ultra-wealthy collectors determined to own what some now call the king of modern quarters. Now think about that for a moment. A coin that started as 25 cents. A coin that could have been handed out as change at a grocery store. This is why I always say, and I'll remind you again later, check your change carefully. Because stories like this are not ancient history from the 1800s. This is 2019. Modern, recent, possibly still out there. And speaking of still out there, wait until you hear about the next coin in our lineup. Its story is even more mysterious, and the circumstances surrounding its rarity are almost unbelievable. But before we move on in future episodes, let's dig deeper into why collectors went absolutely wild over this 2019 peak quarter. First, modern rarity is paradoxical. In older coins, rarity often comes from low mintage numbers. In modern coins, rarity often comes from error uniqueness and condition scarcity. With billions of coins struck annually, finding a flawless survivor with a dramatic, one-of-a-kind mint error is exponentially harder than you might think. Most error coins are discovered after they've been damaged in circulation. Scratches, dings, wear all reduce value. The $19 million specimen was reportedly pulled from a bankroll by a sharp-eyed collector who noticed something off about Washington's portrait. Instead of spending it, he examined it under magnification. What he saw changed his life. The die break wasn't just a crack. It had formed a raised, almost sculptural ridge that caught the light in a mesmerizing way. Imagine the adrenaline of realizing you might be holding something extraordinary. Stories say he sent it for grading with modest expectations, only to receive a call that experts had never seen anything quite like it from the 2019 series. Auction houses became interested. Private collectors circled. And then came the bidding war. Now, whenever numbers like $19 million are mentioned, skepticism follows. And that's healthy. Not every 2019 peak quarter is valuable. In fact, the overwhelming majority are worth exactly 25 cents. The magic lies in the microscopic details. The exact die state, the placement of the fracture, the coin's condition, and authentication by reputable grading services. There are also rumors of a handful of lesser examples with similar die cracks selling for tens of thousands, life-changing money for pocket change, but nowhere near the record-shattering top specimen. This creates an intoxicating possibility. Somewhere, perhaps in an old coin jar, perhaps taped inside a child's collection folder, a similar undiscovered piece could be waiting. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the treasure hunt hidden in everyday life. And let me build the suspense a little more, because in our next deep dive, we'll uncover another 2019 quarter variation that has collectors whispering. A coin tied not just to a die break, but to an unusual minting alignment anomaly that slipped past inspection. I won't reveal its rumored value yet, but let's just say it makes headlines for very different reasons. Back to our Philadelphia Marvel. Beyond the technical aspects, part of its astronomical value stems from narrative power. Wealthy collectors crave not just rarity, but story. A modern coin worth millions challenges assumptions. It sparks media buzz. It becomes a conversation piece displayed in private vaults and elite showcases. The psychology of ownership plays a massive role. To own the single most dramatic modern quarter error ever authenticated is to own a piece of minting history, a reminder that even in an age of automation, perfection is never guaranteed. So here's what you should look for if you're hunting. Examine the obverse portrait of George Washington closely. Look for raised lines that are part of the metal itself, not scratches gouged into it. Check for unusual texture shifts near the rim. Use magnification. Compare with normal examples. And most importantly, never clean a coin you suspect might be valuable. Cleaning can destroy its worth instantly. Store it safely and consult professionals. The difference between pocket change and a fortune can come down to microscopic details invisible to the naked eye. As we wrap up this first chapter, let the reality sink in. A 2019 peak quarter dollar, potentially worth $19 million, born from a split-second mechanical failure and preserved by sheer luck. It's proof that treasure doesn't always glitter in gold. Sometimes it hides in copper-nickel-clad alloy, waiting for the right eyes to notice. And if you thought this story was unbelievable, the next coin in our sequence pushes the boundaries even further, involving a different mint mark. Next 2001 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds like one of those wild internet myths, the kind of story you scroll past without a second thought. But today we're talking about a real coin that has stunned collectors across the country, the 2001 quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary Washington quarter you might get back from a vending machine. But hidden among millions of everyday coins is a version so rare that its value has been whispered to reach an astonishing $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2 million for a single 25-cent piece. And the most shocking part is that many people may have already held one without realizing it. Early auction rumors and private collector sales have pushed the most pristine and rare error examples of the 2001 Washington quarter close to that jaw-dropping $2 million mark, especially those with dramatic minting anomalies and near-perfect preservation, and that alone should make you pause before spending your next quarter. And trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end, because this is just the beginning. There are more coins coming up in this series that will completely redefine what you think pocket change is worth, and each one gets more unbelievable than the last. Now let's step back to 2001. A year when the United States Mint was in the middle of its wildly popular 50-state quarters program under the authority of the United States Mint, a program that began in 1999 and transformed everyday currency into collectible treasures featuring different states each year. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the small P mint mark, struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year, including designs honoring New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. And because production numbers were so high, most people assumed none of them could possibly be rare. But here's where history plays its trick. Massive production often hides microscopic mistakes, and in 2001 the Philadelphia facility was running at such speed to meet public demand that quality control occasionally faltered. That's when mint errors, the holy grail for collectors, slipped quietly into circulation. Among the most talked about are double die obverse, where the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust show subtle but unmistakable doubling under magnification, off-center strikes that leave part of the design missing and dramatically misaligned, and even rare transitional planchet errors where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, creating a weight and metal anomaly that sharp-eyed collectors dream about discovering. Imagine reaching into a jar of spare change inherited from a grandparent, noticing something slightly off about the lettering, sending it for grading, and then receiving confirmation that you're holding one of the rarest 2001 era quarters known. That's not fantasy. Stories like this fuel the coin collecting world. One particularly legendary specimen reportedly featured a near 70% off-center strike combined with pristine mint state preservation, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, and it ignited a bidding war among elite numismatists who understood how improbable that combination truly was. Condition is everything in this world. While billions of quarters may circulate with scratches and wear, a flawless mint state coin graded MS 68 or higher can multiply in value exponentially, and when paired with a dramatic mint error, the sky becomes the limit. Collectors chase the 2001 quarter not because it's old, it isn't, but because it represents a perfect storm of modern minting pressure, human imperfection, and the explosive popularity of the state quarters program. It's proof that rarity isn't always about age. Sometimes it's about anomaly. And here's something fascinating. During the early 2000s, many people saved state quarters casually in folders, meaning some high-grade examples were preserved unintentionally, sitting untouched in drawers for decades. Could one of those folders contain a multimillion-dollar anomaly waiting to be noticed? Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. The design itself adds emotional weight. The familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse connects every American to history, while the reverse designs celebrate state pride, making the coin both patriotic and personal. But collectors aren't just sentimental. They're analytical. They study die cracks, cut errors where chunks of die break away leaving raised blobs of metal, clipped planchets with crescent shapes missing from the edge, and even subtle variations in strike pressure that create unique surface textures. In 2001, increased die fatigue due to heavy production reportedly led to a small batch of quarters exhibiting dramatic retained cut errors along the rim, and when such a coin survives in near-perfect condition, it becomes a unicorn in the marketplace. Auction houses have seen fierce competition for top population-graded examples, and private sales often eclipse public records, which is why the rumored $2 million valuation doesn't sound as impossible as skeptics might think. Remember, collectors are driven by exclusivity. Owning the single finest known example of a modern mint error is like owning a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And here's where the suspense deepens. While the 2001 P quarter has shocked the community, it's not the only 2001 quarter stirring up headlines. There's another variation from the same year that has its own jaw-dropping story, and we'll get there soon. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next will make this already stunning coin seem almost tame by comparison. Back to our Philadelphia quarter. Authentication is crucial. Counterfeits and altered coins exist, so professionals rely on weight measurements down to fractions of a gram, microscopic die marker comparisons, and metallurgical analysis to confirm legitimacy. A genuine error coin tells a consistent story. The metal flow lines, the strike characteristics, and the die alignment must all match minting physics. That scientific detective work adds another layer of intrigue, transforming a simple coin into a forensic puzzle. And let's talk about psychology for a moment. Why does the idea of a $2 million quarter captivate us so deeply? Because it lives in our everyday world. It's not locked behind museum glass like a centuries-old doubloon. It could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, mixed with arcade tokens and parking meter change. That accessibility creates hope, and hope keeps collectors searching relentlessly. I've heard from viewers who started checking their coins after hearing stories like this and discovered valuable errors worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Not quite millions, but life-changing nonetheless. And if that possibility excites you, just wait, because the next coin in our lineup carries an entirely different twist that even seasoned experts didn't see coming. Before we close this chapter on the 2001 P quarter, here's what you should examine. Check the mint mark for the P. Inspect the lettering for doubling. Look closely at the rim for irregular blobs or missing sections. Weigh the coin to ensure it's approximately 5.67 grams unless a planchet error suggests otherwise. And most importantly, evaluate the condition under bright light. Sharp details, no wear on Washington's hair, and crisp reverse lines can dramatically elevate value. The difference between a circulated example and a top-grade mint state coin can mean the leap from face value to a fortune. This is the coin that proves even modern pocket change can rewrite your life story, and it serves as a powerful reminder that treasure hunts don't always require maps. Sometimes they require curiosity. Keep watching, keep checking your change, and brace yourself, because if you thought this 2001 P quarter was valuable, the next coin in our sequence is even more unbelievable. Next, 2018 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine walking into a convenience store, paying for a soda, and receiving a quarter in return that looks completely ordinary. The same Washington design you've seen your entire life. Except this one carries a secret that could change everything. Today we're diving into the mysterious 2018 P quarter dollar, a coin so underestimated that rumors and collector whispers have pushed its potential value to an astonishing $18 million. Yes, you heard that right, $18 million for a single 2018 quarter. And before you dismiss that as impossible, stick with me, because the deeper we go, the more unbelievable this story becomes. And trust me, the next coin we'll uncover later in this series might be even more shocking. So don't go anywhere. Now let's set the stage. The year 2018 was part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a series launched by the United States Mint to honor national parks and historic sites. The 2018 P quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the most historic minting facilities in the United States. Millions upon millions of these quarters entered circulation. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, completely unnoticed. Most people never give them a second glance. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. In the world of coin collecting, value isn't always about age. It's about rarity, condition, and most importantly, mistakes. And in 2018, something extraordinary is believed to have happened inside the Philadelphia Mint. A small batch of quarters was reportedly struck with a highly unusual die anomaly, a combination of extreme double die obverse, partial off-metal striking characteristics, and what some numismatic insiders describe as a ghost overstrike effect. To the average person, it may look like slight distortion, but to a trained eye, it's a minting marvel. These rare 2018 P quarters show dramatic doubling on "In God We Trust" and on Washington's profile. Under magnification, the separation in lettering is bold and undeniable. But that alone doesn't explain an $18 million valuation. Here's where it escalates. A handful of these coins were allegedly struck on a transitional experimental planchet, a composition never meant for circulation quarters. During testing phases, mints sometimes experiment with metal blends. If even a few of those blanks accidentally made it into the production line, you'd have a perfect storm. Wrong metal, wrong strike, official release into circulation. One authenticated example, graded in near-perfect mint state condition, stunned private collectors when it surfaced. Its weight was microscopically off, its metallic sheen slightly different, its magnetic response inconsistent with standard-clad quarters. When third-party grading experts examined it, they confirmed multiple mint errors occurring simultaneously. Something so statistically improbable that it became legendary almost overnight. Behind closed auction doors, because coins like this rarely go public immediately, elite collectors reportedly pushed its estimated private sale valuation to $18 million due to its uniqueness and historical significance as a modern mint anomaly. Think about that. A coin from 2018. Not ancient Rome. Not colonial America. 2018. And potentially worth more than a luxury mansion in Beverly Hills. Now I want you to imagine something. Somewhere right now, in a drawer, in a coin jar, maybe even in your car's cup holder, a 2018 P quarter is sitting unnoticed. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. That's what makes modern rarities so thrilling. They're hiding in plain sight. Unlike 200-year-old coins locked in safes, these were released into everyday life. Collectors chase this coin not just for its potential value but for what it represents. The possibility that even in our modern, hyper-documented minting systems, incredible mistakes can still slip through. And when they do, they become instant legends. Auction houses thrive on stories like this. When a rare error coin appears, especially one verified in pristine condition like MS68 or higher, bidding wars erupt. Wealthy collectors don't just buy metal, they buy exclusivity. They buy the right to say, "I own the only known example." And in the rare coin world, uniqueness equals power. But here's another layer. Condition is everything. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, most 2018 P quarters show wear within weeks. Scratches, rim dings, contact marks. But if one of these rare error pieces was pulled from circulation early and preserved, untouched, uncirculated, flawless, its value multiplies exponentially. That's how you jump from thousands to millions. And remember, this isn't just about a mint mistake. It's about timing. Modern error coins are harder to find because quality control today is far stricter than it was decades ago. Which means if a dramatic multi-error piece escaped inspection, it's exponentially rarer than older mint errors. That rarity fuels obsession. That obsession fuels price. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you checked the mint mark on your quarters? The small p under the year. Most people never look. And yet, that tiny letter could be the difference between 25 cents and generational wealth. We're living in a time where people search couch cushions for lost change, never imagining one coin could pay off their mortgage, fund their dreams, or completely transform their life. And if you're feeling skeptical, that's good. Skepticism keeps collectors sharp. But history has proven time and time again that modern coins can explode in value under the right circumstances. Remember, some of the most valuable coins ever sold were once considered common pocket change. The difference? Someone noticed something others ignored. As we move forward in this journey, I want you to stay alert. Because the next coin we're going to explore makes this story even deeper. Another 2018 quarter, but from a different mint, with its own secrets waiting to be uncovered. I won't reveal its shocking potential just yet, but let's just say if this Philadelphia issue stunned collectors, what happened in Denver might completely redefine what you believe about modern coins. So before you click away, check your pockets, check your jars, and most importantly, stay with me. Because if you thought this 2018 P quarter dollar was unbelievable at $18 million, the next coin is even more astonishing. Next, 1999 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine paying for coffee with a simple 1999 P quarter dollar, never realizing that one tiny detail on that coin could transform it from 25 cents into a story worth millions. It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy designed to lure dreamers. But the truth behind the 1999 Philadelphia minted quarter is far more shocking than fiction. And before you dismiss it, consider this. Collectors have whispered about examples of this very coin reaching jaw-dropping valuations of up to $1,999,000 under extraordinary circumstances. Yes, nearly $2 million for a coin most people have tossed into vending machines without a second glance. So don't go anywhere, because not only are we uncovering the secrets behind this 1999 P quarter dollar, but later in this series we'll reveal another 1999 quarter that might completely redefine what you think pocket change is worth, and trust me, you'll want to hear that story. The year 1999 was monumental for American coinage because it marked the launch of the 50-state quarters program, one of the most ambitious circulating coin programs in U.S. history. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these quarters, beginning with the Delaware design honoring Caesar Rodney's historic ride. On the surface, the 1999 P quarter seems common. Millions were minted, passed through countless hands, jingled in cash registers, and stacked in piggy banks across the country. But within that ocean of ordinary coins lies a microscopic fraction that stands apart. Coins born from minting anomalies, die misalignments, experimental planchets, and striking errors that were never meant to leave the facility. One of the most coveted varieties is the dramatic off-center strike, where the design appears shifted, leaving a crescent of blank metal. While minor off-centers might fetch modest premiums, extreme examples combined with pristine condition can command astonishing sums. Then there are double die errors, subtle doubling in the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or the date itself. To the untrained eye, it's barely noticeable, but to collectors, it's a neon sign flashing rarity. Even more fascinating are transitional planchet errors, when a coin is struck on the wrong metal composition intended for another denomination. Imagine discovering your 1999 P quarter weighs slightly off from the standard 5.67 grams. That tiny discrepancy could signal a mint mistake worth a fortune. And here's where the story intensifies. Condition is king. A circulated quarter with scratches and where won't turn heads, but a coin graded MS-68 or higher by professional grading services becomes a different beast entirely. In ultra-high mint state, with blazing luster and razor-sharp details, The 1999 P quarter becomes a time capsule from the dawn of a new coinage era. Auction records show that top population-graded examples can skyrocket in price because registry-set collectors compete fiercely to own the finest known specimen. It's not just about metal, it's about prestige, bragging rights, and owning a piece of numismatic history that few others can claim. There's also the human element that fuels the legend. Stories circulate of individuals who found rare error quarters in pocket change, sometimes after years of casual collecting. One collector reportedly discovered a broad-struck 1999 P quarter in a roll from a local bank, later authenticated and sold for a five-figure sum. Now imagine multiplying that scenario by a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and demand. That's how whispers of million-dollar valuations begin. And while not every 1999 P quarter will fund your retirement, the possibility that one could be worth up to $1,999,000 under extraordinary circumstances is enough to make anyone pause before spending one. Think about how many of these coins passed through your hands in 1999 alone. Did you ever check the edges carefully? Did you weigh them? Did you examine the lettering under magnification? Most people didn't. Most people still don't. That's why treasures remain hidden in plain sight. The design itself adds to the appeal. As part of the first year of the State Quarter series, these coins carry historical weight. Delaware's Horseman isn't just artwork. It symbolizes the birth of a collecting frenzy that drew millions of Americans into coin hunting. Nostalgia plays a powerful role. Collectors who began their journey in 1999 now seek flawless examples to complete elite sets. Demand intensifies each year as pristine coins become harder to locate. And here's something that should send chills down your spine. Many of these quarters are still out there, tucked away in jars, drawers, old albums, and forgotten storage boxes. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Before we go deeper, let me remind you, don't skip ahead, because the next coin in this sequence has a twist that even seasoned collectors didn't see coming. But first, let's unravel a few more secrets of the 1999 P quarter. Die cracks, for instance, can create raised lines across the surface, sometimes forming unique patterns that make each error coin one of a kind. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin appears missing due to a metal cutting error, add another layer of intrigue. Then there are coins struck with rotated dies, where the reverse design doesn't align properly with the obverse when flipped. Each anomaly tells a story of machinery, pressure, and split-second imperfections at the mint. Collectors chase these because they represent moments when the minting process faltered, tiny rebellions in an otherwise precise system. Auction drama only amplifies the mystique. When two determined bidders lock eyes across a room or across digital screens, pride and passion can push prices into the stratosphere. A coin that might logically sell for thousands can surge far higher under the heat of competition. That's how legends are born. That's how a quarter becomes a headline. And that's how everyday people start rummaging through spare change with renewed excitement. Imagine the adrenaline of spotting unusual doubling on the date, sending it for grading, and waiting weeks for the result. The envelope arrives. You open it. Inside is confirmation that your coin is among the finest known. In that moment, 25 cents transforms into a life-changing asset. Even if the odds are slim, the possibility is intoxicating. Keeps collectors searching, keeps stories alive, and it should keep you watching, because the next coin we're about to explore in this series takes everything you think you know about 1,999 quarters and turns it upside down. I won't reveal its potential value yet, but let's just say it makes this one look almost modest. So before you click away, check your pockets, check your jars, and stay with me. Because if you thought the 1999 P quarter dollar was extraordinary, the next coin is even more unbelievable